It's June 4th, 2020, and this is Sketchworks NewsBrake. The news stops here. I'm Brian Troxell, and I cannot wait to see what 2020 has in store for us next. Protests have spread to major cities all across the country in response to the horrific and egregious murder of George Floyd by Minneapolis police. Right here in Atlanta, protests have been organized as far out of the city as the University of Georgia, home of the Bulldogs, and the Sugarloaf Mills Shopping Mall, home of restaurants nobody wants to go to. Here to comment on the situation at the mall is the Queen of Medieval Times.
First, the sickness came and ravaged my kingdom. Then we ran low on food. There simply weren't enough baby dragons to go around. Now, my subjects riot in the streets. My mind turns to my father the king, who would have said, they should be grateful for the protection of the crown. Clearly, those intended to protect have failed. It would be easy for me to look down from my tower of privilege and fear for the destruction of my property, my 1,100-seat arena, my purebred Spanish Andalusians, my castle bazaar filled with treasures and trinkets from around the world, mostly China. But my subjects cry out in pain, and as their queen, I must listen. There was once a time, I will admit, that I found the peasants revolting. But now, after generations of oppression, they are revolting, and though I cannot speak for them, I will stand beside them.
Thank you for gracing us with your presence, Your Majesty. These truly are difficult times. Elon Musk's Spacex has successfully launched a manned rocket into outer space. This is the first ever collaboration between NASA and a private company for such a mission. Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley, the two astronauts on board, were absolutely thrilled for the opportunity to leave Earth and get away from the global pandemic and all the social strife. Tom Cruise could be going to the International Space Station to film a movie. NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine says NASA and Cruise are talking about the idea at this point. Memo to Tom, it's really hard to jump on a couch in zero gravity. A pack of hoodlum monkeys in Meerut, India attacked lab workers and ran off with their samples of blood. I hate when that happens. The blood was taken from suspected COVID-19 patients. This incident is cause for concern as it may lead to the virus spreading through the primate world. Authorities are asking anyone who may have seen this gang of monkeys to please call Dustin Hoffman. It may sound hard to believe, but at least one thing is getting back to normal in our society. Sketchworks NewsBrake correspondent Tim Millard even got off his couch to see for himself.
The coronavirus changed so much of our daily lives over the past few weeks. Many of us were working from home. Streets and highways around major cities clear of traffic as everybody stayed home and listened to advice from public health authorities. But I'd like to show you a sign that things are starting to return to normal. Thanks a lot, 2020. For Sketchworks NewsBrake, I'm Tim Millard.
Thank you, Tim Millard, and Godspeed. President Donald Trump used Twitter to announce he's going after Twitter and the rest of social media. He's upset because Twitter fact-checked two of his tweets where he claims mail-in voting leads to massive fraud. The president responded with an executive order that could make social media sites more liable for content. MySpace executives are thrilled to know somebody still remembers them. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg doesn't think social media should be fact-checking what politicians post. He told CNBC, in his words, "I don't think that Facebook or internet platforms in general should be arbiters of truth." In other news, Mark Zuckerberg killed Jeffrey Epstein and tried to frame it on one or more of the following people: Hillary Clinton, Prince Harry, Denzel Washington, Ronald McDonald, Cap'n Crunch, and John D. Babcock III. Go ahead, Mark. Fact check that. American Airlines is warning layoffs may happen unless some of its employees take buyouts. Airline executives offered the buyouts as a way to slim down the company since fewer people are flying. American is even waiving its customary "here's a box so you can clear out your desk by noon" fee. GE, we bring good things to the highest bidder. It was announced Wednesday the General Electric Company has sold their historic lighting division to the home automation company Savant Systems for a speculated $250 million. This was a historic move for GE, as their lighting division was started 129 years ago by Thomas Edison and John Pierpont Morgan. Neither man was available for comment about the deal because they've both been dead for quite some time now. CVS plans to use self-driving vehicles to deliver your prescriptions. The company plans to test the idea next month at one of its pharmacies in Houston. A CVS spokesman says prescriptions will be delivered within an hour of being ordered, because that's how long it will take to print out the receipt. The world's largest all-electric powered aircraft made its maiden voyage. The 9-seat Cessna flew for about half an hour over Washington state. That must be a really long extension cord, right? As a way of disinfecting police vehicles, Ford has manufactured an SUV for law enforcement, which raises the interior temperature of police cars to 133 degrees Fahrenheit. Nothing can possibly go wrong with that. A fisherman in Hawaii caught a 220-pound tuna and donated it to frontline healthcare workers on the island. The healthcare workers managed to resuscitate the fish and released it back in the ocean. Then they ordered a pizza. Police in Sofia, Bulgaria found 90 pounds of cocaine in the car of a 33-year-old man during a routine traffic stop. Upon searching his apartment, police found an additional 800 pounds of coke. That's almost half a metric ton of cocaine, enough to give a quarter of a gram of coke to every man, woman, and child in Sofia. Now, before things get confused, I am not saying give cocaine to children. Not at all. They always do too much and you just end up babysitting them all night long. It's a waste of blow. What was I talking about? In a stunning court decision which shocked the legal community, the district judge for the Western District of Oklahoma has awarded Joe Exotic's GW Zoo to Carol Baskin. Jeff Lowe is the current owner of the zoo and has 120 days to vacate the property. He has stated he will leave the zoo to Baskin in a state of complete hell. The name Lowe really fits him, doesn't it? Ms. Baskin was thrilled with the court's decision, boasting, "I now have 16 secluded acres where I can hide the remains of my missing ex-husband, whom I did not murder." College athletes have a plan to come back to campus by this fall. The NCAA released a list of guidelines for schools to follow when reopening athletic programs, such as social distancing, physical exams, and profiting from athletes who are responsible for multi-million-dollar athletic programs and still don't get paid. Speaking of not getting paid, that's all for Sketchworks NewsBrake. We'll be back next week, and we hope you are too. I'm Brian Troxel. Say hi to your mom for me.
Feudalism is the virus.